What is the purpose of this life? What is the meaning of all this? Questions which pop into our heads now and then. Do you feel stuck in meaningless jobs, earning money to buy things that don't satisfy you? Every day seems like the day before. We feel like the hamster running on a wheel, constantly moving but going nowhere. It is like being a Phil Connor from the movie Groundhog Day, where every day seems like a
You'd do
repeat of the day before.
if you were stuck in one place
Feel like being in a
and
time
every
loop
day was
with no
exactly
exit
the
in
same
sight.
and nothing that you did mattered.
Let us explore how this question from various viewpoints, from perspectives of religion, philosophy, psychology, biology, evolution, and now simulation theory. Let's leave Phil Connor and his groundhog to their ways and take a few minutes to examine the purpose of life from the various aspects mentioned. You may or may not find the answer to your liking, but at least it is a quest worth exploring. Some of you may have the answers, but is worth looking at other perspectives. What do the major religions say is the purpose of life? We can broadly divide the religions into two major types, Eastern and Western. Western include the Abrahamic religions of Judaism, Christianity and Islam among others. The Eastern religions include Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism, and Sikhism. What will be described here is a very brief summary of the teachings of the religions. According to Western religions, we're on this earth to worship God and follow the path as shown by the prophets who revealed the messages from God after death. As per its doctrines, we would face judgment from God for our actions on the earth, and if we have lived by the path shown by these prophets, we will be rewarded with a place in heaven, else we will have to suffer damnation in a place called hell. In essence, the purpose of life as per them is to glorify God, obey Him, lead a good life, and follow the teachings of His prophets. Eastern religions, however, offer a different view. They are more philosophical, giving advice than commands. Major religions like Hinduism, Buddhism, Sikhism, or Taoism suggest that our actions, good or bad, have consequences. Not only in this life, but perhaps in the next lives as well, and that our present situation may well be the result of past actions in lives earlier. They have a concept of karma, which says that life is a cycle, and you come back multiple times to earth. The purpose is to attain oneness with God, that we are all part of God. We have consequences for our actions. Good deeds get good consequences, and bad deeds attract bad consequences. On a lighter note, so, as per Western religions, follow God's rules, and if you do it right, you go to heaven. If not, well, enjoy the heat in hell. It's like an eternal game of Simon Says, except this time, Simon is God, and you don't want to mess that up. Meanwhile, Eastern religions are like, relax, take your time. Life's a cycle. You'll be back. If things don't go so well this time, no problem. You can retry. Kind of like hitting the restart button on your life's video game. But, try not to rack up too much bad karma. It's a bit like running up a big tab at the universe's karma cafe. Eventually, you will have to pay that bill. Philosophers have pondered the purpose of life for centuries. Socrates believed that in life we should seek eudaimonia as our ultimate end. This refers to a state of well-being, a healthy spirit, or a type of happiness. The idea was to focus on uncovering the nature of virtue and what it means to be virtuous. Being virtuous is the way one comes to accomplish eudaimonia. He famously said that the unexamined life is not worth living. Thus, for him, life is meaningless if he cannot continue to seek knowledge. Another famous philosopher, Nietzsche, said that God is dead. According to him, with religion losing its grip on society in modern times, that is, after scientific inquiry and method became the norm in society, it was time for humans to find their purpose. He introduced the idea of the Übermensch, or Superman, the ideal man, one who creates his own values and meaning. Now when you hear Superman, it is not the cape-wearing kind, though that would be pretty cool, right? Nietzsche's idea was that instead of looking for purpose from external sources, we should create it ourselves, look for ideals to live up to from within ourselves, and strive towards those ideals. Psychology has some important insights into the meaning of life. Viktor Frankl, an Austrian neurologist, psychologist, philosopher, and Holocaust survivor, who spent 4 years in Nazi concentration camps during the Second World War. He noticed that those who found meaning in their suffering were the ones who survived. Frankl's experiences led him to develop the idea of logotherapy, the belief that the will to find meaning is the most powerful driving force in humans. While we can't compare the hardships of modern life to the concentration camps, we can relate to the sense of hopelessness, despair, and meaninglessness that often plague us. Frankl described this as the existential vacuum, and in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, he recounts how those who had a purpose, even in the direst of circumstances, survived. Frankl concludes that the meaning of life is found in every moment of living. Life never ceases to have meaning, even in suffering and death. Frankl offered the thought that for everyone in a dire condition, someone is looking down, a friend, family member, or even God, who would expect not to be disappointed. This is one source for the purpose. Frankl concludes from his experience that a prisoner's psychological reactions are not solely the result of the conditions of his life, but also from the freedom of choice he always has, even in severe suffering. The inner hold a prisoner has on his spiritual self relies on having hope in the future, and once a prisoner loses that hope, he is doomed. He says you too can discover this meaning of life in 3 different ways. The first one is by creating a work or doing a deed, which has deep meaning. Could be charity or helping others. Second, by experiencing something or encountering someone, which is profound. It could be reaching the pinnacle of your creative abilities or any such. And the third, by the attitude we take toward unavoidable suffering, not allowing the circumstance to dictate your attitude. Frankl's story reminds us that while humanity harbors great darkness, it also has remarkable individuals who rise above, selflessly giving to others despite their suffering. These people, like Frankl described, comforted others, even giving away their last piece of bread in the camps. On a lighter note, if your day didn't involve writing a masterpiece or having a life-changing moment, don't worry. There's always the traffic jam on the way home to help you reflect on life's deeper purpose. Nothing like bumper to bumper to make you feel like you're really growing as a person. Another approach from psychology to finding your purpose in life is from Carl Jung, the famous psychologist. He devised the idea of the 12 major archetypes. By identifying and exploring these archetypes, individuals can better understand their unconscious motivations and conflicts and work towards greater self-awareness and personal growth. Google it for more details. Finding meaning is a deeply personal journey, and it varies widely depending on cultural and societal contexts. Take, for example, the differences between Eastern and Western societies. In Asian cultures, parents often find their life's purpose in the success and happiness of their children. They dedicate themselves to ensuring that their children have better opportunities, often sacrificing their own dreams and desires. This is seen as a noble and fulfilling purpose, a way to find meaning through family. In contrast, many in Western societies place a higher value on individualism. While family is still important, the focus is often on personal achievement and self-fulfillment. This difference can lead to very different approaches to finding meaning in life. In the West, the pressure to find yourself or chase your dreams can sometimes lead to feelings of isolation or inadequacy, especially when those dreams seem out of reach. From a biological and evolutionary perspective, the purpose of life is pretty straightforward. Survival and propagation. The survival of the body and propagation of the DNA. That's what we're programmed to do, at least at a biological level, but we're also more than just animals. We've evolved into complex beings who can think, reason, and create. So maybe, from an evolutionary standpoint, our purpose could be to continue evolving into something even greater than us humans. What's particularly striking in our modern world is the contrast between those searching for meaning and others who are focused on extending their lifespan. On one hand, we have people who feel lost, struggling to find purpose in a world that often feels hollow. On the other hand, advances in technology and medicine are enabling some to pursue longer lives, sometimes without asking what those extra years are truly for. It's an interesting paradox. But as Frankl reminds us, life's true value isn't measured by its length, but by the meaning we find within it. It might seem funny, while some people are out here trying to find the meaning of life, others are just trying to make life last longer. It's like being lost on a road trip. Half of us are asking, why are we even on this journey? And the other half is like, let's make sure we never run out of gas, even if we have no idea where we're going. Now, here's another fascinating idea that's gaining traction.
Blue pill.
The theory
The
that
story
we might
ends.
be living in a simulation.
You wake up in your bed and
Yes,
believe
like the
whatever
movie
you want.
The Matrix, with the
You
red
take the red
and blue
pill.
pill.
You stay in
This
Wonderland.
concept suggests that our reality is a kind of
And I
computer
show you
program,
how deep the
and we're
rabbit
all just
hole
characters
goes.
in someone else's simulation. Whether that's true or not, it's fun to think about. Take the movie It's a Wonderful Life, for example. The movie shows us how one man's life, no matter how seemingly insignificant, can have a profound impact on others. And remember how our friend Phil Connor finally escaped his one-day loop in Groundhog Day? He changed his attitude, realizing that life wasn't about him.
Anything different
It was
was
about
good.
others. As for me, I try to see how I can understand myself better every day. If we can understand ourselves better every day, That is a great purpose we can have. Not the image we have about ourselves, but the real us. As the great Rumi said, our true purpose is to uncover our essential self. Hence, journey within and know yourself, since there is no benefit in knowledge of other things. The key is to know oneself, that which belongs to you. On a parting shot, people caught in the daily grind, trying to meet basic needs, don't typically ponder about these issues. They don't even have time to sit and contemplate the purpose of life. They're too busy surviving, but lucky you.